In this video, we are going to tell you about what is the time of supply of goods and services. The liability to pay tax on goods arises at the time of supply, either at the date of issue of invoice by the supplier or at the date on which the supplier receives the payment with respect to the supply, whichever is earlier. Where tax is paid on reverse charge basis, the time of supply of goods shall be earliest of the following: date of the receipt of goods, or date of payment as entered in the book of the recipient, or date of payment debited in the recipient's account, or date immediately following 30 days from the date of issue of invoice. In the supply of vouchers, there are two cases. First, if the supply is identifiable, then the time of supply of goods will be date of issue of voucher, and second, in all the other cases, a date of redemption of voucher. When none of the above principles decide the time of supply of goods, then the time of supply of goods shall be the date on which the return is to be filed in the case where the periodical return has to be filed, and in other cases, the date on which the tax is paid. Further, we will tell you what is time of supply of services and its exceptions. The liability to pay tax on services arise at the time of supply, either at the date of issue of invoice by the supplier or 30 days from the date of supply, or at the date of provision of service, or at the date on which the recipient shows the receipt of services in his books of account, whichever is earlier. Where tax is paid on reverse charge basis, the time of supply of services shall be the earliest of the following: date of payment as entered in the books of the recipient, or date on which the payment debited in the recipient's account, or date immediately following 60 days from the date of issue of invoice. In the supply of vouchers, there are two cases. First, if the supply is identifiable, then the time of supply of services will be date of issue of voucher, and second, in all the other cases, date of redemption of voucher. When none of the above principle decides the time of supply of services, then the time of supply of services shall be date on which the return is to be filed in the case where periodical return has to be filed, and in other cases, the date on which the tax is paid. Where there is a change in the rate of tax, time of supply will also change. It is categorized in two ways. Where supplies have been supplied before the change in the rate of tax, there are three cases. And in all the cases, the time of supply is either date of receipt of payment or date of issue of invoice, whichever is earlier. And where the supplies have been supplied after the change in the rate of tax, there are also three cases. If both the invoice issued and payment received are before the change in the rate of tax, then the time of supply is whichever is earlier from both, and if one of them is happened after the change in the rate of tax, then the time of supply is whichever is later of the two. But there is an exception. The date of receipt of payment will be in the date of credit in the bank account if such credit in the bank account is after 4 working days from the date of change in the rate of tax. To know more on GST, please refer to other videos by Legalraasta. You can also log on to our website www.legalraasta.com. In fact, you can get GST registration and GST filing services from Legalraasta. CAs or accountants can use Legalraasta software for filing GST return. Call us at 875 000 8585 for more details.